All right, so we're going upstairs and we're gonna do a talk. I'm gonna do a talk for the real estate agents at Berkshire Hathaway. I think they're like #1 brokerage in Boston. So we're gonna be talking to 30 of the top agents, and I think what's really important that I wanna get across to the agents this time versus the last time I was here speaking is just about how to build, what branding is and how it relates to them building authority, not necessarily their logo or a website or a picket fence, and how that actually is going to, how do we use that to generate leads. So during the talk, that's what I'm going to be doing, showing them examples of that, and I think it'll be good. I'm excited for it, and I'm pretty sure they're excited for it too, so we'll see how it goes. So I know enough to know that you guys get probably tons of inquiries every week. People that are like, I'm gonna sell you leads, or if it's like a Zillow, they're giving the leads to everybody and you're paying for a monthly fee. So what I wanna talk about is basically how do we stop that? How do we create leads that are a lot more qualified for you guys, so that we're going with a little bit of a different approach than people who are just selling you leads with a list. So I'm aware of that when we talk about lead generation. Why is this? Why are the leads not as good as they could be? Because they're often unqualified. They're sold to everyone. They're sold to all the agents, with not necessarily each of the beautiful things that make you guys an individual in mind. And they're too expensive, especially if they're unqualified. So how could this be better? Qualified leads that fit your ideal buyer-seller profile. A lead engine that you own, because a lot of times you guys don't own how the leads are coming in, with leads that don't get given to other agents, and essentially minimizing the cost per lead, which would be maximizing the lead to close. So those are some of the things. Would we agree that these are issues that happen with leads in general? Okay, so I've sat with probably like 40 to 50 agents in the last year. And this is the modern buyer's journey. And what I notice from most agents is that they're usually starting their marketing from the consideration stage, awareness stage, consideration stage, decision. And I would even add there's a whole attention phase that's going on up here with social media. But for most agents, I know it's a simple diagram, a lot of you have probably seen it before. Most agents are starting their marketing from the consideration stage, meaning there's a listing, I want to tell people about it. I want to sell the listing. I'm going to tell you about my story. This is all things that are considering you, but it's not taking into account the attention and awareness phase that's going on outside of here. Usually before the buyer even has a chance to even knows that they're ready to buy or sell something, but they're kind of thinking about it. They're talking to their family about it. And I want to talk a lot today about how to leverage this, how to take advantage of this, and then have it lead into obviously a lead that closes or a sale for you guys. So to do that, we're going to talk a little bit about personal branding. And I guess I wanted to ask a question to someone in here. Why does anybody in here think personal branding is important? Does anybody have an idea of why? Or does anybody have a feeling of why?
Sure. Personal brand allows us to distinguish ourselves from each other, basically. All of us basically do the same thing.
And why is that important to do that?
Well, if you don't, then they're going to go with their friend, their cousin,
Yep.
Be real,
Right. That's a great answer. And that's, anybody else have a response? Is that good? Yeah. So that's what it is. It's about differentiating and positioning. So great answer. When I sit with a lot of the real estate agents and I talk, they even sometimes call me. They're like, "Hey, I just fixed my brand. I just cleaned up my brand." And I'm like, "Okay, what did you do?" And what they're usually talking about is more traditional term for branding, which would talking about certain deliverables like a business card, a website, a picket sign, or color and font. So when they tell me, "Hey, I fixed my personal brand," they're talking about colors or fonts on a site, and that's not necessarily what a brand is. A good example is if you think about a logo. A lot of people say, "I just got a new logo. I have a new brand." But if you think about Hyatt versus Nike, we're all aware of what those brands are. If I told you that Nike had a hotel or built a hotel, you would know you would have a vision of what that would feel like. Oh man, yeah, I could see LeBron in there, or it'd be super sleek, or different materials, because pictures of champions. You know what Nike stands for. But if I told you Hyatt had a running sneaker, you wouldn't know what it is. Both of them have brands that you recognize, but only one has a true brand, which is values and identity, intrinsic values that people connect to. Hyatt doesn't have that, but Hyatt has a logo. So it's very important to understand that when anybody says to you guys, oh, I'm talking about your brand, I want to fix your brand, or you get pitched for these things, understand, are they talking about, this is the next slide, are they talking about having brand signage, or are they talking about a brand? Because having brand signage is no longer enough. It was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, especially for real estate agents, but that's not enough anymore. So I think it's a clear distinction that I wanted to make for you guys. So what does that mean? If logos and websites and business cards aren't necessarily enough anymore, then what is it? And you don't have a brand until you have a unique position, and you've earned authority with the new prospective buyer or seller. So until you've done what you were talking about, the unique position, I'm glad you touched on it, and you're earning authority, meaning they think of you as the go-to resource, that's when you have a brand, not when you have a website. If you guys are familiar with Fiverr or Upwork, you can go on there right now, and for $30, you can get the coolest logos in the world. They have thousands of them, you could buy them. So if everybody can get a cool logo, then that's no longer what makes it a brand. Following me so far? Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. So then we agree, right? Okay, if I position myself correctly and differentiate myself, and if I'm building authority, then I'll have a personal brand, and I want that. Then what's the fastest way to communicate your unique position and earn authority? And that is vlogging. So that's video blogging on social. And why? It comes down to intent. I didn't even want to put video there, but I wanted, for the people that didn't know vlog meant video blog, because when real estate agents think about video, they usually think about the listing. They usually think about a drone flying over the listing to sell a listing, and I totally get it. Back to that funnel I showed you guys, that's the consideration and decision stage. You're catching someone going, oh man, they want this listing. Great, so I'm going to show you this listing. It's a $4 million listing, $1 million listing. But the intent behind vlog is actually a little bit different. The intent is to, again, build authority and build credibility usually before they even know they want to buy that $1 million listing. So what it is what happens from the video blog is that your ideal clients are identifying themselves versus low quality leads that come in. You're allowing yourself an ability to educate them, which grows your authority, and it comes across authentic and transparent, which creates relatability. All this is very important specifically for the social media space and YouTube, which is a search engine, because that's what makes those engines work. If you don't come in there with value to educate versus, this is my story and I grew up here and this is this listing, you're not gonna be able to leverage the power of those networks. So that's why the vlog and the social networks are like brother and sister. They're like cousins. They work together because this feeds that engine. So it also allows you with vlog, unlike say one explainer video, it allows you to be consistent, because even he's filming this right now, this is going to be made up into 15 different pieces of content that go out consistently to people that probably aren't ready to buy our services for 2 years, and that's okay. That's the thing. You have to understand the buyer cycle is changed. If you think about Amazon right now, they have Amazon Prime. Why? When they started off as a book company, because they want your attention. They want you to go get into Amazon Video and subscribe to that, because they want to hold your attention until the second you're ready to buy. It may not be for 4 years. They don't care. They're gonna keep giving you. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
Do you have a client funnel?
Yeah.
Do you deal with people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that towards the end of this. Yeah, we're getting there. So. Yeah, Amazon wants your attention. They want to entertain you to the point where they know that buyer cycle it's cyclical. It takes a long time, so they're okay with that. So why does video quality matter then? So some agents, they are doing a good job. They're using vlog, they're using IG Live, and I think that's awesome. I think that's great. They're using the social media, Instagram and Facebook organically to, again, position themselves and build authority. What's the difference with doing it with professional video or high-end video? The difference is you enhance your position and you amplify your expertise. If you think about it, you guys definitely all have expertise. If you dress it up in a black tux, you go to a black tux affair, you can't go there in your workout clothes. So when you're using high-end or highly produced video, you're setting yourself up for amplification. When we scale that, especially with ads, you're putting yourself in front of 15, 20,000 people. So can you do it with off your phone? Of course, you could. But when it's packaged and it's high-end, you're able to amplify and connect with people that don't already know you at this current time. So you're scaling your expertise, and why wouldn't you want to package it in a way that's going to connect with people that don't know you already? So I wanted to show this. Are you guys familiar with Ryan Serhant? Anybody here? Yeah? Okay, so we're just going to go through him. He's probably there's probably others, but he's one of the biggest personal brands when it comes to real estate, and he's on vlog like number 72 right now. So he's been doing this for a while, leveraging this for people that probably aren't even buying from him until 3 years from now, or saw it and they were like, I like this guy, and we're gonna call. It works both ways. It works all parts of the funnel if you're using it correctly. So I'm just gonna take a look at one of his pieces.
Good morning. Good morning. All right, it is, what time is it? 4:23 a.m. I start my mornings early. Early bird catches the worm. I really, really believe in that. A big part for me in starting my day and a key to success is my day starts the night before. So last night I prepped for today. Now I wake up, it's super early, I'm super tired, but I know exactly what I have to do today. I'm ready. I send out some emails so that when other people wake up, they're like, oh man, Ryan's already on top of it. He beat me to it. Good to go. Now I get ready to go to the gym and I try not to fall asleep.
Okay, so we don't have to watch the whole thing, but I think you guys get the scope. Nothing about there is about a listing. Nothing is about a house. Nothing even about necessarily his life story. He's just documenting his day-to-day, and he's bringing you into his lifestyle. Why? Because he knows that on YouTube, that's powerful. He knows that people want to view that. He knows that he can keep people's attention that aren't ready to buy throughout this whole process while doing this. He's building personal brand and authority. Now, for him, he's a little different than you guys because what he sells on the back end of this is a course for real estate agents, to, all the things you guys need as far as templates and things like that. So he's really selling to you guys, showing you guys, hey, look what my day's like. I have $1 million listings and so forth. But the idea still stands, and you can see it's not constrained by a certain time. It's really about an authentic story. And the funny thing is, within this, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but he does drop gems in there. He drops gems about the process and what is he doing, and so that you guys, you get to feel that without feeling like you're in class. You just feel like you're watching a reality TV show, and he's building authority and building you into his lifestyle. So does that all make sense? Okay. So I'm going to show you guys another example, and this is one of our Journi clients, and a little bit different approach. In this approach, you guys are going to see it's not so much day in the life. It's more, it is, but it's more about an authentic conversation with an ideal client. And I think that's a little more practical for you guys, taking the time to identify and really break down the target buyer persona, and literally on the most basic level, have a conversation with that person that you naturally have anyway, and making sure that you're packaging that and then scaling that, because visually when someone sees that, especially in the social media space, they're gonna go, I'm like that person. I'm like, 60-year-old grandma. I'm like first-time home buying college kid. If that's who your target buyer is, then literally have that conversation and make that visual so that the next person goes, I'm like that person, and they associate you as the go-to for that, all right? So I'm going to show you an example of that from our Compass client.
Honestly, I've been looking for stuff on my own because I didn't think I needed a realtor, and this process has just been extremely stressful for me. I thought I could save time, and then I also thought I could save myself some money, but that's why we're here, and it's crazy. I've been to open houses, I've looked at different properties on Zillow and went to go visit them, but I'm really finding out throughout this process it's been just crazy for me. And then with my 2 daughters and the time that I have to spend with them as well, I just, it just got out of hand.
I can understand why you felt like you can do it yourself. I mean, when I bought my first home, I was thinking the same thing. And what normally happens is you get frustrated, you can get some anxiety, you can feel like the process is just way too much. I've seen so many times people get in a situation where they feel like they can just take everything on their own and they get overwhelmed.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have high anxiety, or they just want to quit the process, right? Because it feels like it's too much for them. It's kind of like too much going on. Yep. But at the end of the day, if you could find a realtor partner, right, that can just help you guide through the process, make you feel comfortable, I think that's exactly what would enable you to feel like you can achieve your goals.
So there's a lot going on in that piece, whether you guys can see it or not. Number one, I worked directly with Brendan for like 2 months just to design his target buyer persona. He wanted to work with all these people in Southie and development groups, and I was like, listen, man, your best shot is working with people. Because as I looked at his numbers, I looked at who he had been selling homes to. I think he said sold like 8 homes, and I was like, look at all these people. You know, how did you find people? He was like, oh, I was out at a nightclub, or I was, you know, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, there are people that he's from Boston, he's from Dorchester. I'm like, they're people like you, and you understand them better than anybody else. So why not focus on them? When this guy, he's an event designer or designer, like he does, you know, shows and stuff like that in Boston. You know, those are his real pain points. He does have 2 daughters. That wasn't made up, but he knows that the struggles that it is to even get to open houses when you're working 2 jobs and stuff like that. So we're tapping into that in a natural conversation. The other part about this that's important is that he's not saying, work with me, work with me. If you work with me, I'll do this. All right. He's saying, as your friend, if I was just telling you what you would want to look at or think about in working with a realtor, this is the things that I would think about. You know, remember, we're top of the funnel awareness. It's not decision, choose me, and let me show you some listings. It's just building rapport and building authority for the person who's watching this. Also, the other people who think like him, act like him, have those pain points are going to relate just right off the visual alone. So what I want you guys to think about is, who would this person be for me, in my world, in your world? Because that's who you want to start creating that vlog content around. These are just some examples. These are not real estate examples, but when those vlogs are then packaged as ads, and we're going to get there in a second with the funnel, this is what they kind of look and feel like. So right now, when those ads go out from real estate agent, because I tap in and I get them, you know, it's a lot either my story, or here's a listing, look at this listing. Nothing wrong with that, I get it. It's the bottom, it's the decision stage. It's, if I was looking for that right now, I'd click it. Most of the time I'm not. I'm actually in the market to buy my first home, and it's funny because I know it won't be till like summer next year, and I'm not ready for those ads right now. But what I am ready for is what Brendan just gave me, and just like, how should I be thinking about this? What should my credit score be looking like? Things that I don't know, you guys know, but I don't know because it's my first time. So someone who was targeting me with that type of content will be building me. And the time I come, I'm gonna go looking for Brendan, or I'm gonna be looking for you guys, versus someone who's just sourcing me ads every day for listings, and I'm just not there yet. So it's just a difference in mind shift about the buyer's journey. Anyway, those are examples of how they look inside of digital ads. So again, before we get into distribution and how to actually generate leads with these, short term, how does my vlog equal new buyers and clients? It's gonna lower your cost of buyer-seller acquisition. It's gonna pre-qualify your leads. It's gonna shorten your sales cycle, and it's gonna build relationship outside of the traditional buying cycle. Long term, which is things that I don't even get to talk about as much because I know you guys are just in a fast-paced business, it's gonna position you for higher premium deals. If you're working with new college students per se, you can start positioning yourself. I know I'm being drastic, but for the Tom Brady's, he's selling his home right now. If you were doing this for 2 years, you might be positioned to sell that home, which obviously is a huge deal if you were able to do it, but you have to position yourself for it, and vlogging is a great way to do that. Positioning your brand for your ideal client, even if it's not Tom Brady. Activating brand advocates. This gets untalked about. There are people that want to show your stuff to people that are in your social networks, that could be in your social networks, and by you giving them this content, like Ryan Serhant, I can share that, even if they just think it's entertaining, they're able to use that, and they have something that evangelizes them, but you have to give that to them. And increase the amount of referral deals. Again, them just sharing that vlog right in the DM is a way of increasing referrals without having to say, hey, I got a realtor. You know, just, hey, look at this, my friend's doing this, it's cool. So, back to your question, how do we create a lead engine around this? How do we use these vlogs inside of social ads to actually create buyer-seller leads? We just talked about a lot of that. So if there's probably no other slide that's more important than everything I just said, it's this one. This right up, most people who are selling direct response or social ad, they're starting from putting out a listing, tracking the visitors, maybe retargeting. They're missing the vlog ads part. So the vlog ads is everything I just showed with the vlogs that from those clients. But what we're doing is we're not just putting them on YouTube and saying we hope someday somebody searches for them. We're using them to basically allow people to qualify themselves. So we put that, let's just say we put that out to 1,000 people. Okay, we'll be able to track how many people watch that all the way through, which means they have some intent to, they're connecting to me. Because remember, those vlog ads aren't going to be selling anything. They're just building you and building up rapport, building authority around your personal brand. We can see how many of them watch the whole thing, half the thing, and for the people that watch the whole thing, then you retarget them with some type of offer or guide or a buyer's guide or home evaluation, which is what's traditional for you guys in the Facebook space. You guys would spend the money because you're like, all right, cool, I want a lead. Give them a home evaluation, and I get it. It's just lower down the funnel. So we allow these people to qualify and disqualify themselves, and we don't waste your ad dollars showing them guides and ebooks that they're not ready for, that they don't have any interest in. So as we track those visitors, then we retarget them with new ads, other ads that are like, hey, you watch this, and now we have a guide or ebook or offer for you. So I'm not getting into all the spreadsheets and stuff around Facebook. I don't want to make this like a math equation right now, but just know that I could help you or show you those things, and we can talk about that later. So once you've retargeted them, you've already built some rapport with them, they've already qualified themselves, so now they're more likely to trust whatever guide or ebook you have. That's when you end up capturing that lead. And what's very important is when you capture that lead through a landing page, because you're giving another thing of value to them, that's like an ebook, guide, home evaluation. When that lead's captured, because of what happened up here with the vlog ads, building rapport, and because you positioned yourself correctly for the ideal client, that lead is way more qualified. So you may only have 6 leads, but 4 of them may close versus having 100 leads and 2 of them close. And then from there, there's ways to have lead follow-up using a CRM, which I won't get into today, for the people that aren't necessarily ready to buy, but they are qualified for you. So yeah, with the right qualified lead engine, your ROI for qualified leads becomes a simpler cost of acquisition math equation. So what's kind of crazy about this is once we know what your average order size is on a deal, and we know what this system is put together, the video and how much it costs and to make it, and then how much to put the ad spend and target it, once we know that cost of acquisition, it just has to be lower than the order value, and you can make $1.50 for every dollar you put out. Now that takes time and it takes testing, but once you have it, you basically have started and you've created your own lead engine versus buying leads off of other marketing agencies that are unqualified. Cool. So that was pretty much it. I mean, there's a lot more, but I don't want to take up too much time. I know that's a lot to take in one session. As far as Journi, yeah, we do 4 big important things. We help you refine your brand identity and position, like I told you what we did with Brendan, the realtor. We help you grow your authority with a high-end vlog series. Going to position you guys outside of all the new competition that's on social, all the young kids that just started and they're putting out content every day. It's also going to allow you, if you're doing ads, to amplify that message and package it the best way possible. We're going to help you build a new client engine using the vlog series, and we're going to do this within one turnkey service. I think it's important for the people who haven't worked with these type of companies before is that normally you'd have a brand consultant that's like, all right, I'm going to help you identify your brand. Then you'd have to go to a film production company that may not understand anything about branding that's going to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to film some stuff, that's great. And then even if you did have a beautiful vlog series or other types of video content after that, you'd have to go to a Facebook or a social media agency that's going to be like, all right, cool, we'll create ads, we'll build funnels, we'll drive you leads. But we're doing that within one turnkey service, which I know is very valuable to high-ticket service businesses who may not have the time or the marketing team behind them to get all that, or the funding. So that's that. If you guys are interested in anything more on the journi.co site, there's an ebook I put together like last year about how to build authority as a high-ticket service business, and you guys can go check that out there. You can check out my personal, really the Journi Co. Instagram or Facebook. Actually, the last 3 days I just put out a ton of new content specifically for real estate agents. So if you want to go check that out, it was done from another podcast where I just dove into real estate agent branding and lead generation. And then my email is Terrence@journi.co. And yeah, I did this last time. I offered again. It went really well. But if you guys want your own personal 30-minute consultation, I could look through some of your content. I can look through your target buyer persona. I can look through any funnels you have, and just give you any feedback on that if you think that would be valuable. So you're more than welcome to take advantage of that. And I can email you this deck if you think this deck would be powerful, important, and you just don't think you're mentally here to do something like this, or you're just busy for like another 6 months, 7 months. I don't mind sending you the deck, and you can kind of just hold it, and we can talk about it when you're ready. So it went pretty well. It went really well. I feel like I tried to keep it as condensed, so I was talking a little bit fast. I want to get better at slowing down, but then it's like it's a flow, right? Because the presentation is as long as it is. So I feel like I was keeping their attention, but I feel like I was kind of losing them towards the end, and then it picked back up once we started talking about hard money numbers and how much things cost and how do you get your return on your investment and things like that. I think that for real estate agents, they have a lot to think about, and I can understand that talking about branding and production and video and social ads, it can be a lot, so it was pretty simplified. But what I do think will happen is that a lot of them, the ones that are interested to learn more, they'll take us up on that consultation, and then we can really sit down and I can break down what's happening inside their business, inside of their brand, and it can be a little bit even more contextual to their goals going into 2020. So I thought it was good. Had a great talk with the brokerage owner, Nick. Always good chatting with him. He thinks very similar to me, and he's always thinking about the best interest of the agents. So I thought it was great. I'm thankful to Berkshire Hathaway Warren Residential for the opportunity, and we'll take it on to the next one.